Hello there, Richard. Glad to see you've settled down there. I understand this might be a lot different from your previous security job, but let me assure you that nobody is going to try and break into this building. Our windows and doors have alarm systems that can be triggered if tampered with, or destroyed. However, that doesn't make your job any easier, unfortunately. You just need to make sure that if anyone somehow enters the building to act accordingly. I assume you did your patrol of the building before entering the office, yes? Before I begin though, let me tell you a little fun fact about your office and why there are 2 desks. It's actually both mine and Henry's. You know, small location, small budget, we just kind of have to share an office at this point. But, I mean, if he's not peering over my desk, I'm not peering over his. In any case, though, you have a nice view of the alley outside the establishment. Henry couldn't stand not having a view of the outside, even if there isn't much to look at. But, of course, that's not the only thing that you really need to worry about. The office's light bulb needs to be repaired because, well, the last one broke. But, of course, you have your little handy flashlight, which can help you see things better, since it's pretty dark in there. But as with all things, it doesn't last forever. Though behind you is where your security door is. I'm sure you've probably seen it by now. And in case things get dicey for you, you can just close the door. But it does run on limited power, so I would suggest closing the door only when something is actually in the doorway and not on the camera. You know, renewable energy and all that stuff. But let me share something that's definitely should be between me, you, and Henry only. A while ago, things started going awry with one of our mascot animatronics, when it had an accident on stage during its performance, and since we had to replace it, well, I don't think I should give you explicit details, but you are to make sure that those animatronics don't break anything inside the building, including you. This place can get spooky, and those animatronics, in my mind, I think they're possessed. I'm gonna be blunt, I think they're possessed. Things haven't been the same since that incident, and while I can't really explain everything right now, I need to make sure that you are safe. There's a reason why I don't even take the night shift anymore myself, and that's only because I sustained a bad injury to my left hand, so Henry told me to take it easy and, take on the day shift. What I have said may sound scary, eerie, or possibly the most normal thing to happen to any sort of person, but it's not my role to scare you. But, of course, I'm gonna have to cut this short and finish this before heading off to bed. You will have a series of messages throughout the week, so make sure you play each one left for you. You understand? Alright. Good night. Hello there. Sorry I didn't pick up your call this morning. I slept in late and had a terrible nightmare. That aside, I'm assuming you saw one of the mascots move last night, and the possibility of other absurdities to the human cognition, no? Most people would think you're crazy for even mentioning it, but it's a good thing I'm not most people. Before you turned up, the shifts got pretty outlandish for me at times. Lights would flicker, the animatronics would stare at the cameras and move around a lot. But there was always this one recurring factor every single night. Sometimes, around midnight, I would see what would look like an eye staring at me from the window in your office that overlooks the alley. I'll tell you what, if you see something in the alley and it really irks you, or you feel like it's a threat, which it most certainly would be, given the nature of your job, just shine your light on the window in your office. There is a vent out there that leads into the building that some rats and vermin tend to climb through, so maybe give them a taste of your flashlight, whatever else may lurk out there. By the way, I wanted to address that stalking fiend that's been lurking around these parts. That thing, whatever it is, it's quite interesting in my opinion. I've taken the time to look into it myself, and from what I can gather, I don't think it's human. The images make it out to be a lot taller, yet it looks kind of familiar to me. But who knows? Perhaps it might show up during one of your shifts. Though I'm guessing due to how unpopulated the area is, that's probably unlikely since it tends to go after people late at night. You know what, never mind. Don't listen to me. Now, I don't know if things will get better or worse for you, assuming something had happened last night, but just remember to use your door and check around your office occasionally for any oddities. I'll leave you be now. Good night. Hello, welcome back to the diner. I've been doing pretty well today. How were you last night? Actually, don't bother answering that. This message is pre-recorded, so it'll be very awkward for you to respond. Regardless, I should probably update you on events recently. A while ago, we actually had a pair of animatronics that were replaced by the rabbit duo that you'll see in the entrance camera. Back when these weird events started happening, that was. Those two are very small when compared to the other mascots, since we wanted to pander to toddlers and youngins. But during the first testing of those two, we decided to include a speaker system inside of Hopper, the rabbit wearing the vest, and allow it so that we could control his voice box from the office, as like a little debug feature. But given the nature of how events have been unfolding lately, it would be best to try and keep both him and Whisper, who's the one that wears the skirt, together. Your monitor has a speaker system, of course, like I said before, originally used for PA announcements, but I managed to tinker it and have it so that you could have both Whisper and Hopper together. So here's how it works. So it takes a while, after one usage, for the speaker to recharge and then be back to full working order, so we don't risk breaking Hopper's voice box. So what I want to explain to you is what I did when I had to deal with those two. So Whisper comes to the door and she will try to get in like Freddy would. However, if you close the door on her for too long, she will try and chew the cables up. So what you need to do is you need to close the door when Whisper's out there, find Hopper on a camera, use the speaker on him, and that will get both him and Whisper away from your door and back to where they initially started. Does that sound good? I think that sounds well. I think that's pretty good, honestly. But that's just my advice, since that was what happened to me and it worked out wonders. By the way, can you also look into performing maintenance on Freddy before you go? I know it's a bit of a big ask, I know, considering that these animatronics are moving around and you don't know what they could do. We just need to replace his eyes and then it's all over. Just replace his eyes, take the old ones to the backstage, and that's it. Alright, good luck. Good to see you're back again. I understand that you're very concerned with your work environment right now, and I just want to say that it's better than whatever is going on outside of this diner. So, do you remember the stalking fiend? That thing has apparently been prowling this local area, around the diner. Sightings have been increasing, and people say it looks cartoony and looks like a mascot from this place. I mean, nobody can really say for certain what it looks like or what it is, but apparently it has cartoonishly looking ears, it's very tall looking, it looks like something straight out of this diner from what I've heard. However, I am looking into investigating it still, but I want to also have your input in all of this, considering you're someone who has dealt with paranormal events and these animatronics moving around. I feel like these two different separate incidents are linked in some way. Now, obviously you should be a little bit accustomed to how things work around here, so just keep at it, alright? I know coming back here, despite the paranormal events going on, is a bit silly, and, the paycheck is pretty hefty, but at this point, you're just reliving what I witnessed, so at least you have someone who believes in you and can vouch for whatever you're experiencing. But I feel like it's only one ghost in this place, a poltergeist. Henry's said that he's been seeing objects fling around in the kitchen and in the office sometimes, so we're very confident it's a poltergeist. But, Friday's coming around. You can make your decision whether or not you want to join me on this by then. Alright then, I'll see you then. Bye-bye. Okay, Richard, I followed up with what I said I would do last night, and ever since, the sightings have gotten worse. They're saying that thing, the stalking fiend, has been spotted coming and going from the diner basement. That little window at the bottom? Yeah, it's been coming out of that. You never said anything. So I'm assuming you didn't see anything from the last 4 nights, right? Look, I want you to remain calm and just focus on yourself as well as your surroundings tonight. If that thing shows itself, and it doesn't look like anything you've seen before, make sure you deal with it accordingly. Considering that there is only one real way that thing could probably get to you, which is the door, it's best that you close the door. Or, alternatively, if it happens to be in the alley, do what you do before, and just shine your light on it. But knowing your tenacity, I have no doubt that tonight will be over and done with eventually, and you'll be out of this alive. Just keep your wits about you, alright? Tomorrow is the final day, and then you're out of there, if you choose to be. Alright, I'm looking out for you. Stay safe. Welcome to the end of the first week, assuming that you stick on for the next one. I'm assuming last night went well, considering you're still standing and you're listening to me right now. Have you made up your mind about quitting? Truth be told, while Henry and I will understand, I don't think you should speak a word about the roaming animatronics to anyone. Believe me, I tried to tell my wife about it, and she didn't believe me, until I sustained that injury I mentioned before. That's why I took on the day shift, remember? However, plans are going ahead for my own personal investigation next week, so if you plan on staying for the foreseeable future, I could very well use your expertise in all of this, and we could look into this further. Henry's expressed interest and believes that this could benefit our little insight into what this poltergeist in the building is doing, as well as the mysteries of the stalking fiend, which, it turns out, could potentially be one of our very own mascot animatronics that got scrapped a long time ago. If my hunch is correct, then it's no longer a coincidence. However, I apologize for not telling you about these little hypotheses or potentially giving you reasons to stick around longer than you should. But that's just me thinking out loud. Anyway, I'll leave you alone for tonight.
you